I never thought he'd find out, at least not like this. Not so soon. But secrets have a way of seeping through the cracks, especially the ones whispered to yourself at 2 a.m., staring at the ceiling, wondering, is this really the life I chose? If you've ever waited for the right time to leave someone, only for them to leave first, then listen. This one's going to ache. The truth? I didn't marry him for love. I married him because I needed to survive. I was 23, emotionally hollowed out by back-to-back losses, broke, and too tired to keep fighting life alone. And there he was, solid, predictable, kind. He had a car, a salary, a plan. He offered me something resembling a future, and that felt better than drowning in the chaos I was barely wading through. I told myself I'd learn to love him. That happens, right? People grow into love. But I didn't. What I grew into was resentment. Not instantly. It crept in quietly, showing up in sideways glances, in the hollow smiles I wore at family dinners, in the way I flinched when he reached for me, and in the self-hate that followed those flinches. Then came the baby. He wanted another. I told him I was too exhausted. What I didn't say was, I can barely breathe inside this life. How could I bring another soul into it? And then without warning, something shifted. I applied to nursing school. Quietly. Secretly. Like it was a betrayal. When I got accepted, I cried. Not from joy, but from terror. I'd just lit a match in a room soaked with gasoline. He didn't understand. You already have everything, he said, baffled. But his version of everything wasn't mine. I started school. I juggled classes, night shifts, motherhood, and emotional turmoil. I stopped waiting for him to see I was unraveling. I began saving money. I made a silent promise. Finish school. Then leave. Then start a life that's yours. That was the plan. But futures don't always wait their turn. One afternoon, I came home to a silence so deep it felt like someone had already screamed, and I was just late to the sound. My journal, the one where I confessed it all, my fears, my dreams, a list titled Things I'll Do Once I'm Free, was sitting open on the kitchen counter. Our closet? Half empty. The drawers too. My son's toy bin was tipped over, half its contents gone. One text sat on my phone. Just one. You should have just told me. I'm not going to wait around for you to leave. You win. I'm gone. My legs gave out. I don't know how long I sat on the floor. I don't remember what I told our son when he asked where his dad was. I just remember the sharp, bitter realization. I was the villain in someone else's story. He didn't scream. He didn't fight. He just left. And that hurt more than any argument we never had. I thought I'd feel free. I didn't. Because when someone walks away before you get the chance to reclaim your power, all that's left is silence. I drifted through the days, folding laundry I never wore, reheating meals I barely tasted. Our son stopped asking questions. Maybe he sensed the answers were too heavy. People had opinions, of course. Some called him heartless. Others called me manipulative. I didn't know who was right. Maybe both. Maybe neither. But one night, I sat at the same kitchen table where I once wrote my way out of a life that never felt like mine, and I realized something I hadn't been ready to say out loud. I didn't just want to leave him. I wanted to find myself. I was tired of pretending, of forcing smiles, of saying, I'm fine when I wasn't. I didn't want to raise a child in a home where silence screamed louder than words. He didn't abandon us. He abandoned the version of me who kept herself small to keep the peace. And honestly, that woman was fading anyway. So I kept going. I graduated. I passed my exams. I found work. I rebuilt everything from the ground up, on my own terms. I became the woman I used to scribble about in the margins of that journal. The one who didn't need to orbit around someone else's sun just to feel warm. Months later, he called. One sentence. I didn't know you'd actually do it. I didn't ask what he meant. Divorce? Independence? A life that didn't need his approval? I just said. I didn't know I could either. But I had to. We co-parent now. Not easily. Not warmly. But with respect. And sometimes when he looks at me, I can tell he sees someone unfamiliar. Sometimes I look back and remember who I used to be. But I don't miss the marriage. I miss the illusion that someone else's version of security would be enough to make me feel safe. If you're standing at the edge of your own decision, afraid to leap, listen to me. Not every ending waits for your permission. Some crash in before you're ready, and still set you free. Don't wait for the perfect moment. Don't wait for silence to become unbearable. Don't bury your truth under guilt or duty or fear. Because being alone with your truth is never lonelier than being unseen in a life you never wanted. And if you've felt that, if you've lived it, or are living it, say it out loud. You're not alone. This time, you get to choose what happens next.